Welcome to Flying the Metal Flag. And there's so many legends in metal, and this guy is definitely one of them. Nick Holmes of Paradise Lost, and also of Bloodbath. He is an absolute legend, as I said. There's so many great words I could describe this man. They're a band to get better with releasing their 17th album, Ascension, going to be released on the 19th of September. And I totally recommend it. It is an awesome release. They are a great band, and Nick is a vocal chameleon. He sounds different on every track of this album, and I love it. So sit back and relax. Ben and I got to talk to him. So here it is. This is Nick Holmes, vocalist of Paradise Lost, on Flying the Metal Flag.
Hey, how you doing?
G'day there, Nick. How are you?
All right, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Nick. I'm Craig, and this is Ben here. How are you, mate?
Hi guys, how you doing?
Yeah, very well, thanks, mate. Yeah, the show's actually called Flying the Metal Flag, and
Right.
you're very much welcome to it. So it's a great privilege and honor to be speaking to you. You are an absolute legend, we have to say.
Oh, thank you.
And
Thank you.
congratulations on this new record. It's absolutely awesome. We have
Cheers,
to
man.
say that first of all. And your vocals in this album, man, are absolute diverse in every song, we have to say. So it's been a long time in the making because I guess in a way it's sort of, I guess, the album out of the COVID pandemic, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's we usually record an album every 3 years, give or take, and that usually includes the touring cycle. But I guess we had an extra 2 years slotted in because of the COVID shit. So, but I mean, we did a project. Greg and myself did like a side project thing called Host during that time, and we also re-recorded our Icon album as well. So we did those two things in that period. But um, from a perspective of writing a new album, it was quite a good, nice space of time to get a bit of perspective and retrospective rather on things that have gone before this album, and think sit back and think how we can make it a more varied album, interesting album. Hopefully,
Well, we think you've done that for sure because there's so many different layers to this record, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean it's there's a few songs that I mean I can tell were written a few years, maybe or 2 years prior to the next one. But I mean I kind of like that concept. They really, I mean, I think you can. The thread is you can tell it's the same band, but the songs are different, and I really like that aspect of it. But we also wanted, obviously, with the vocal styles, if it was heavier, I would sing it gruff. If it's not heavy, then I wouldn't. So um, I just tried to approach the vocals on what was required for the how it sounded and how it made me feel when I came to sing it. So I guess that's why there's quite a variation in the styles within the range that I can actually achieve.
Because you're an absolute vocal chameleon as well. Is that something that you work on yourself as well?
I think it's just years of because when we start, I think we got to our third album in 1992 or 93, and I was kind of getting a little tired of only doing the gruff stuff, and I was finding it a little bit restricting. So I wanted to try and change it slightly. And on that album, I kind of do something in between gruff and clean, which is a voice that I can't even do anymore. It's some kind of weird hybrid growl kind of thing, which is I could never really achieve it since then. And then we changed again on the Icon album into a more kind of clear, kind of I don't know what's the word for it, but maybe a thrashy kind of voice. I don't know. But so yeah, I mean, I've sort of tried a lot of things out over the years, and then obviously about 10 years ago, I kind of came back and I brought the growls out of the case again, which I'd been away a long time. But I mean, I think when I joined Bloodbath, that kind of got me back into it again. I mean, we're old metal guys, I mean, you can drift away from it, but if it's in your heart when you're a teenager, you'll probably get into it again later on when you get in your 50s, which is, I mean, we were probably about 42 when we started to start loving it again. So it's kind of gone. But yeah, it's like I said, all the years of doing the different styles, I guess it just you kind of figure out which you can do okay, which you can't do, which is works and which doesn't. And here we are, I guess.
Yeah, because it's album number 17 as well. Can you believe that at the same time?
I know. It's a fucking loads of those things.
Because you're approaching your 40th anniversary soon too, as well. So
Yeah, yeah. I thought you were going to say I'm approaching my 40th birthday. I was going to say if only,
I wish.
if only. Yeah, I mean it's. I mean, I just saying when we start the writing process, then we write, record, and tour. And if an album does quite well, you will tour more than usual. So you could do 3 4 years in the whole thing for an album process, and then before you know it, you've done 10 years, and then you've done 20, and then you've done 30, and we've never stopped doing it either. So we've always kept going and going and going and going. Yeah, I mean, the last 5 years that's the longest we've ever had between an album, and that that was the pandemic that actually caused that, I guess. So we needed a major pandemic to slow us down a little bit, maybe. But yeah, I think the album benefited from having more time to work on it in this instance for sure.
Something like 17 albums or something.
Yeah, 17. Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
good number.
It's
yeah.
an incredible run, isn't
Yeah.
it? Really?
40.
No, it's yeah, it's a long time. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I can only gauge it by how old my children look. You know what I mean? Because I still feel like I'm like 25, but then you only notice that you're not when you sit up or you catch your reflection in the mirror. You know, other than that, in here, I feel no different to when we were in our 20s, I guess.
But with everything else you've done, it's more than that because, of course, you are, as you mentioned just before, the singer of Bloodbath as well, which an awesome piece as well. And you've got three albums under your belt as that, so you've got 20 albums plus
Yeah, well, I
everything
mean,
else you've done.
well, I mean, the Bloodbath. I've been in Bloodbath nearly 11 years, I think it is now, which is crazy. I mean, that the fact it's a decade of blood, and I still feel like the new guy. I still feel like I feel like I've just kind of walked through the door. And it's been it's 10 years I've been in Bloodbath, which is it's crazy. Yeah, like life is a blink of an eye. It really is. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So has Bloodbath helped your work in Paradise Lost as well, you reckon?
I mean, Greg started doing the Valenfire project about how many years ago it was now, but and then we went on to do Strigoi. But Greg kind of got back into the death metal stuff, and at that point, I wasn't really feeling it as much. But then when the guys asked me to join Bloodbath, after very quickly, I completely got back into it again. Because it just kind of reminds you of everything you loved when you were a teenager. I mean, all the death metal stuff was just we had such a passion for it, particularly in our late teens, mid-teens, and it's just such a nice memorable part of our lives. And yeah, it's fun to kind of explore it again. And in the case of Bloodbath, it's fun to go on stage and just do those fucking crazy death metal songs, and kind of act like we're 15 again.
Yeah, exactly. Like like you're a kid again. It must be awesome.
Yeah, yeah, it's good fun. I mean, it's. I mean, you're talking. The stamina isn't what it was. I mean, I'm absolutely. I have to sleep for like 24 hours after a Bloodbath concert. But I mean, gone are the days of up all night drinking after the show. It's like, oh, I'll see you tomorrow. I've got to go to bed. But
Go and have a cup of tea.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So how do you look back on your career now, well, approaching 40 years with with Paradise Lost and everything with Bloodbath?
I mean, it's. I mean, we've been very, very lucky. We started the band at kind of the right place, the right time. I mean, extreme metal music was just starting to become recognized. The bands we were listening to prior to that were all demo bands. There was no one even had a record deal. I mean, maybe Venom. Venom was pretty much the most extreme thing that was on vinyl up until a point, and then obviously some of the American death metal bands came through. But yeah, I just think it was starting to pick up steam, and then we came along around the end of the 90s, and we were just part of that first kind of wave of bands getting signed by labels like Peaceful and Earache, picking up the more extreme bands, and then the rest is history, I guess. But I think a lot, like I said, it's right place, right time. We've been very, very lucky. And we've just kept on pushing it and pushing it. We haven't kind of stopped. We just kept going and going. And I don't think we don't really. I mean, there's been periods where I do think you have to keep an eye on what people are listening to and what's trendy or whatever. Particularly the last 15 years, we don't even care what's trendy. We just do what we do, and if people like it, that's great, But I think you can't underestimate how important luck is, not just in in everything in life. I think luck is absolutely paramount.
How did you come up with the death metal thing in England? Because it was sort of a new thing back then, and it was pretty pioneering ground or brave ground to walk.
It was we used to tape trade. We used to tape trade demos and live clips from bands, and there was a very enthusiastic group of guys who would just kind of have lists of hundreds of bands on lists of the demos they had, and then you found out about new bands, and it just kind of snowballed from there. And we would just send each other cassettes or a few cassettes when you demos, and then you would so you just swap demos for other demos, and then eventually you start to send them all over the world. I mean, I used to tape trade with a lot of Swedish guys, a lot of Norwegian guys, a lot of the original black metal bands like Mayhem. That they started to come through around that time as well. So it was, but it was such an exciting time because all the bands were so new, and the kind of more dark they were, the more evil, the more insane the music was, the better it was, and we just got completely obsessed with the whole thing. But I mean, it's the same with all our peers in other bands, like Carcass, Napalm Death. They all kind of come from that kind of background where they were just, because originally there was kind of like the punks. The only metal band that punks would listen to would probably be Motorhead. They wouldn't touch any other band apart from. But then punks started listening to extreme metal as well, and then there was a huge kind of crossover period as well with it all. So, but it was like I said, it was an exciting time. It was new, and it was so great to be part of that scene in the 80s.
Wow, because you've also been very influential yourself on metal bands today as well. Have you really noticed that yourself?
I think if you get into a band, the bands that maybe you could influence, maybe they're like 3 or 4 years younger than you are. Because I mean, we were always influenced by Celtic Frost and bands like Frost and Candlemass and bands like Death, and those guys are all kind of like 4 years older than we are, 4 or 5 years older than we are. So this is kind of next gen sort of thing. So bands that kind of we have influenced over the years are kind of 4 or 5 years younger than we are. So they're kind of gen below us, sort of in the metal, in the extreme metal world, as it were. So, but yeah, I mean, it's completely, it's very flattering, and it's good to have our band as a kind of cornerstone for someone to feel inspired enough to pick up an instrument and play guitar or form a band. But I mean, it was exactly the same for us with bands like Celtic Frost and Candlemass, and those bands were so inspirational to us when we were starting out as kids, and they still are. We still love that stuff.
Wow, because also yourself, you also pioneered pretty much the doom and gothic brand of metal as well, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean that's the thing, because we were very much into. I mean, the band Trouble from Chicago. We're huge fans of Trouble. I mean, and they were never really got that big, but they had such a niche appeal. But the people that were into them were really into them. I mean, we were mega fans of Trouble. I just love what they did. I mean, they're clearly influenced by Black Sabbath, but they really put their own spin on it. And massive fan of the band. I mean, probably that band above everything has probably influenced PL's music throughout the years more than anyone else. And we certainly don't shy away from saying that either. But yeah, the kind of doom stuff just went hand in hand really nicely with the death metal, and even some of the goth music elements that sometimes occur, even that fits as well, I think, because there's a very real darkness in goth music, which I really like. I really like some of the real dark goth stuff as well. So it's all kind of dark and miserable, and it all works together, I think.
So who are the bands of today that you really admire?
I haven't. I mean, if I usually hear new bands, I just kind of like bands that sound like the 80s. So anything that sounds like something I would have liked when I was 13, I'm usually like, oh, this is quite good. So, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head at the moment. There was a Turkish goth band who I thought they were brilliant. I forgot the name. I forgot the name, and I'm not going to say it wrong in case I got it wrong. But they're an old band, but I heard a new song by them, and it just sounded just like 1981. It sounded like the last 40 years hadn't happened. You know what I mean? The last 50 years hadn't happened. But I usually, like I said, I usually like stuff that reminds me of the old stuff. But you hear a lot of younger bands now kind of playing very retro sounding metal stuff, and I kind of like that. I can definitely catch on with that. You know.
Oh, it was definitely a great decade, though, the 80s for metal, though, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, it was kind of coming out of the traditional, you know, bands like Rainbow, etc. That thing just, and then it was obviously Motorhead were always the missing link between that and the more extreme stuff. But yeah, it was a fascinating time. I mean, I just didn't care about anything else but metal music at that time. You know, it was nothing else, no problems, nothing, just metal. It was fucking great.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's probably more classic albums from the 80s, isn't there, really, than any other decade, I think.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I
From
mean,
England,
sorry.
especially from England.
Yeah, well, I think with England we sort of we kind of pioneered with a new wave of British heavy metal. That was a real thing, but that's almost kind of before my time almost because that was kind of 80. I mean 81. I mean I was like 10 then, so it's kind of I kind of started getting to Black Sabbath when Ronnie James Dio was singing for them. So the Dio era Sabbath was probably the thing that I kind of got into again because the lyrics were so kind of dark and I like that whole concept. And then I went back to Sabbath, Aussie Sabbath after that, which was obviously way before my time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, yeah, I mean, it's a hell of a long time ago, but that stuff still stands up because it's so good, you know. I mean, that's the thing; it's such good music. You still hear that stuff constantly.
Sorry, to interrupt. How did you go with collaboration for this album? With the pandemic and everything that was part of it. How did you go about? Did they record from home, or did you record in small groups, or two people,
No,
or?
but when we recorded this album, we did it. It was after the pandemic. It was quite a while after.
Sorry.
Yeah, the Paradise Lost album was done. Yeah, I mean, it was the last album was released during the pandemic in May, right at the beginning of the pandemic, which was a kind of a risky time to release it. The last album, and then we shot a video for it for the song Darker Thoughts, and that was during the pandemic and the lockdown when no one was supposed to leave the house, but we filmed a video on the moors. I was walking on the moors, which are close to my house,
Nice.
and it was we were kind of worried that we get caught, you know, because they said you can't be on the moor, and like there's no one on the moors. I mean, there's no fucking way anyone's going to get an infection on the moors. So, but it was kind of like we were kind of and nobody kind of knew the rules. We didn't know if we should be there or we shouldn't be there, or it was that kind of confused part where it was like, are we locked down or are we not locked down? It was that kind of time.
Imagine the police trying to work it out.
Yeah, so it was, but the song Darker Thoughts, yeah, that's when I see the video, I always think of the lockdown for sure, but that really reminds me of it. On the malls.
Yeah. I was also going to ask about lyrical content that you come up with. Like it's a very I won't say dark. It's a saddening themes in a lot of them, but um, I don't disagree with the energy of the goodness in it.
I just think, I mean, I like to write lyrics that complement the music, you know.
Yeah,
It, and I also like to write lyrics that you could possibly see a glimmer of hope in there.
that's right.
So you could read an entire piece and then there's one line where it's actually positive or it sounds like it could be positive. And I kind of like that because it makes you think, hang on, there's a glimmer of hope here. But I tend to come back to lyrics again and again. And I mean, especially this album, because I wrote them all at the end of the writing process. I wrote them at the end, and usually I write them in between, but I wrote everything at the end, and it was kind of harder to do, but I think the lyrics are better for it because I just kept coming back and then adjusting a word and then back again. And so I mean, there's probably hundreds of revisions of the lyrics on this album, and mostly it's about what sounds right over the music. You know, it's for me, it's about the feeling that I get when I hear certain words over certain riffs and how it kind of flows. But I mean, for me, it's more hopefully from a more perhaps poetic element rather than soapboxing or kind of preaching or telling about some current affairs type thing. Because if I want to read that, I'll just read the news, you know. So
political crap.
Listen, I can read the news for that. So
Yeah. So I'll ask you my last question, which is always the same to everybody. What's the best thing about metal?
I was going to say the long hair then, but
Join the club, mate. Join the club.
that's in the real lights, unfortunately. I mean, I guess the energy in it, you know. I mean, it's such a great. There's such an energy in it, which is the first thing that got me into it in the first place. Any kind of music that gives me goosebumps when I get goosebumps from music. I mean, metal does that more than anything. Good metal does that.
That's true.
So yeah, it's the music that kind of got me, give me that goosebump feeling before any other kind of music kind of ever really did that. So I guess yeah, it's the energy and the kind of and the escapism in it as well. I like that element as well. Just kind of when you listen to it, if you're in the right mood for it, you just forget about everything else, and that's not a bad thing, you know.
That's right. And this album really takes you on a journey as well, which is fantastic stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of peaks and troughs, and you know,
Yeah,
rises
cool,
and
man.
falls, and like Craig said earlier, the layers of the guitar work over the drums and bass and everything, and the vocals.
Yeah, cool.
The vocals come in really, really smoothly, and I can't find fault if I'm any kind of judge anyway.
Yeah.
Cool, man. No, I appreciate the comments, guys. Really do. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
No worries. So
like
the band is Paradise Lost. The album Ascension is out on the 19th of September. So thank you very much for your time. Old Nick, can I call you that?
Nick, yeah.
Saint Nick.
So hopefully you can get back to Australia very soon.
Yeah, we'd love to. Yeah, hopefully we can get back next year at some point. It's always kind of sorry, my daughter's ringing me. It's always a little kind of tricky with the kind of the logistics with these things. But I mean, I mean, for sure, any opportunity we get to come there, if it can be done, we will definitely come down there. We've had some good memories of coming to Australia for sure. So hopefully, fingers crossed.
Fantastic. And also thank you for releasing At the Mill, which is a great live release as well during the pandemic. That was a beautiful album.
Thank you. That was another one as well where we weren't sure if we should be there or not. So are we okay? We were kind of are we okay now, and someone said I don't know. We just did it, and then I think we were okay, but I don't know. Yeah, there was kind of like because they told you to go out for meal. They told you to go out to restaurants at one point, and then they said don't go out to restaurants. So no one knew what was the fuck was going on. But anyway,
no worries. So I wish you and the band the very best, Nick, and with the album and the upcoming tours and everything, and with Bloodbath, you're an absolute legend, mate. Thank you very much for your time.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for the support. Glad you like the album. Cheers, guys. All the best. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for watching this interview here on Flying the Metal Flag. I really hope you enjoyed it, and so does Ben. So we would greatly appreciate it if you click the like button, or even better, subscribe to this channel, because there's so many interviews that are coming soon. So please stick around for them and even more, and even the ones that are here already. So please take care and keep it excessive, but most of all, let your metal flag fly high.